Good morning, good afternoon, and good evening, audience. Wherever you are watching and listening to me, my name is Femi Akinri-Misi, and I am broadcasting and reaching you from Yoruba Autonomy Mobile Radio and Television, broadcasting and reaching you from the one and only Sunshine State, Florida, in the United States. Welcome to this edition of Yoruba Autonomy Open Editorial Digest Monologue. In this edition, I will be venturing into talking to us about issues that are fundamental for us that we have to be very, very well acquainted with as it concerns the Yoruba homeland enclave in Nigeria. Yes, Yoruba is still in Nigeria, despite all the efforts put into it to see that by now we should have been out of it. But because some people are so stubborn and obstinate, more obstinate than goats, in how they insisted that it is their way or no way, and if they cannot have their way, they are able and willing to throw the baby out with the bathwater. Most of you know who I'm talking about, whose idea is so outrageous that he lies more than Trump. He will tell you that we are where we are not are. I can't understand why most of us cannot get it, that Akintoye is not it. He cannot get us to the level of the kinds of people that we needed to actually pilot our way into freedom, into Yoruba freedom, into Yoruba extricating itself from the Nigeria landscape. Many of us are so much in the land of lack of understanding what it is for a revolutionary move that we undertook in the journey for the freedom of the Yoruba nation. That if we cannot go forward, we should not be dragged backward from where we have as our standpoint. We overcame the fear, which is the first step that we have to take in 100 or 1,000 miles journey to free Yoruba from the clutch of backwardness that Nigeria have actually tied us. We have not actually made any progress from where Awolowo left us. It's not that we have not had governors. It's not that we have not had our own share of national budgets. We have. But we need to take a look at those that have come to us as meaning well, but in actual fact, they never meant well. They did worse than the white people did, because the white people came for our goods and not for our good. And many of those that have been governors in the Nigeria Southwest since the creation of state have actually been looking after their own individual selfish interests. If they had spent at least 3 pence, 3 kobos out of every naira budgeted for us in the Nigeria Southwest, we will be better than France today. Remember, we have TV before France. Imagine. That was the doing of Chief Obafemi Awolowo and his cabinet, because it wasn't Awolowo alone who did it. Awolowo's situation was one that we said 2 good heads are better than 1. Yes, Awo was a good leader. Many and most of us are proud of him. When I say most of us, I mean those of us that from the Yoruba Southwest. But since Obafemi Awolowo left the stage, we have been activities without progress, just marking time. Like a child that did not pass and did not fail. Imagine a child that they were twins. If both of them, let's say, were born of the same parent, of the same mother, of the same father, on the same day, they are twins. And when they were of school age and they started going to school, and if one did not pass from primary 1 to be promoted to primary 2, it won't have to repeat. Let's say it's the first one we call Taye or Kehinde, that is the last one to come out from their mother's womb that did not pass and has to repeat primary 1, while the other one goes to primary 2. And at the time when the one in primary 2 had to be promoted to primary 3, if the first one was still again remanded in primary 1, one or both of the parents will be wondering if something is wrong with the one that is not getting promoted in the cerebral brain. But we have governors, they've all been thieves, stealing from us. And we have been so daft that we accommodated them when we should be learning and knowing that we must and we should not be tolerating what we should not be accommodating. But that's what we have been doing in the Nigeria Southwest. So thank God, come between 2017 and 2018, we finally had someone that said, okay, let us move forward, and was ready to lead us. Then we made the fatal mistake of electing someone who do not have the capability for leadership. Just because he's a professor, we get carried away. We got carried away, and what happened to us? We dived into the ocean without knowing how to swim, because there were no structure available for us to actually be following. The playbook was not there. When Sir Victor Taiwo came with the idea of, okay, let us extricate from the Nigerian nation peacefully. And we started from the protest, and then they had the meeting at Ibadan. And boom, we made the fatal error of having Professor Akintoye as our head to pilot the journey. No one knew that, yes, a professor, but he's a failure. He has not been able to move us 2 inches beyond the level of us getting over the fear that we had, the fear of the Nigeria police, the fear of the Nigeria Gestapo, which we overcame. And once we overcame it, every one of us seems to have relent in the spirit of the enthusiasm that we were taken into it. So many things happened. And when you look at the writing of the history of the journey so far, you'll be hearing all the lies that are being told, that it was Chief Adeyemi Igboho who formulated the idea. Igboho had nothing to do with Yoruba nation getting off the ground. Yes, he played a very important role in making at least many of the Fulanis in the Nigeria Southwest to understand that the Yorubas will not tolerate what they will not accommodate. We did not ask them to leave, and then they cornered us into a dark alley whereby they were killing our farmers, destroying our farms, and the government of the Nigeria Southwest cannot do nothing. They did nothing. They were complicit in it. Because many of them themselves, they were afraid. They were afraid of the federal government. They were afraid of the Buhari government. They were afraid of the Jonathan government because there was no template. We did not know where to begin with. But let it be written, let it be known, because as we go into the history, we are fond of everyone written statement as authentic. No. Many of what you are hearing about the history of the movement are false. Sir Victor Taiwo was the person who actually instigated the inauguration of Yoruba World Congress and got this thing going. Period. Now, Professor Adebanji Akintoye left Nigeria before Igboho left for the Republic of Benin. That's a fact. Anyone saying anything contrary to that is a liar. Now, since the Buhari administration decided that they wanted to go at our jugular by going after Igboho, they slowed the movement down, and our people did not slow down in contributing money for this movement. Those who were the beneficiaries of the contributors, they know themselves. And I kept warning us at that time that, look, it is not the money that we needed now, it is the people's awareness that we needed. Now let me take us into what we have to be aware of right now. Right now, Alberta in Canada wants out of Canada. They are getting signatures, and before you know it, you will see the foundation that is being laid down in Alberta, Canada, how successful they are likely to be compared to us. Because I said what we ought to do was to have a structure that actually, when we put it in place, if anything happens to the leadership, the followership will have the stairs with which to climb the hill and get to the promised land. Our promised land is a return of the Yoruba nation to nationhood that it was before 1914. That if we can get to that level, with structures in place, that okay, this is how we want to inaugurate Yoruba nation, not the quick fix that they want to do. We have to have who are capable of governance from among those of us in the movement. That we have to separate those who have knowledge from those who don't, who think it is a cheap way to get into governance. Now, because we do not have the structure that some of us envisaged, then we've been marking time. It's been activities without progress. For now, if we are to move forward from this level, we have to get out of the binds that only Igboho can do it. No, it's not only Igboho that can do it. If people with good heads come along, because I heard some people, including Tibetan, saying that it's only they should come and make Igboho the head or the head of the state police. These things are not just what you just have. You have to have capability. The man is not asking for it, so don't commit him into what is going to make him a failure. He already have a good record. Don't tarnish his image, don't tarnish his record. I know some people may not want to hear this. Igboho doesn't have what it takes to be head of recruiting state police for the Yoruba nation. There are people in the Yoruba hemisphere within the Yoruba homeland states who have the knowledge, the training, the ability that have been there in government in Nigeria, not the best so far. However, they will be a good starting point, a good foundation. Someone that has been administrator. Yes, when it comes to the Ibile stuff, maybe Igboho will be called along and says, hey, what do you see about this? What should be done about this? But to be calling the man to come and do what he doesn't have his capability will be like putting another Adebanji Akintoye into play. If we are not going to get Yoruba nation, let us forget about trying. But as long as we are saying that we want to go for it, then we should put the right people in the right places. Yoruba deserves the best. Not by emotion, not emotional. We don't have to be emotional about this thing. We have to be real. For example, let me ask us about some questions. What has our obas, I have talked about our governors that have all failed us so far from the beginning of the creation of state up to now, from when Awolowo left off. Everyone that has been in place and had the opportunity to be in administrative leadership of the Yoruba homeland have failed us. In one way or another, if they have not been stealing from us, they have been lacking in the areas where they are supposed to excel. And one of our most fundamental problem is this idea of wanting to have something to leave behind for our children. It's killing us. It's debarring our progress. Many of us want to live for our children. No, let the children work for themselves. Let them learn. Let them fall and get up. Let them achieve. Don't say you want to get everything for your children. You don't want them to suffer. If they do not suffer, who is going to be their teacher? Yes, our own father, our own parents may not have been in the opposition to actually give us what we would have wished. But wishing is one thing. Being able to fend for yourself is another. I do not see anyone that is saying, oh, I want to go out there and fight for my children and make sure that they don't get beat out there. Your children will go out, my children will go out. If they get into fighting, those that can beat them will beat them. They will cry and come home. And then they will learn how to fight. They will learn how to actually not start a fight. Those are how I think and believe that good things get put in place. So, now that the hands of the clock is moving, as the clock is ticking by the seconds to the minute to the hour, hours to day, now things that needed to be done in the Southwest, we should be putting those who will be governors in 2027 in the Nigeria Southwest into thinking what they ought to do. Not new things, not necessarily new idea. There are things that we have on ground in the Nigeria Southwest that a new governor can come and redone and do over and make them to be functioning for us like water. If we have good water flows, resources, like the pipe-borne waters being brought back in the towns, like we have the water pipes in our towns relayed down, and then the water start flowing again. Even if we are going to make it something that, okay, you come to fetch the water, you put coin in there, you pay for it to draw the water. As long as it is there, it will be serviced. People will do it, people will use it. Imagine if we have taps that you can put money into and then it will release water. People will actually patronize it. And the water resources will be making money, and the money they are making from that resources application will actually pay for employment of their staff and some money into the state government coffers. How about that? It will be a good thing if we can have good, drinkable, pipe-borne waters of the qualities that we buy from those sachets and table waters. If we have the equivalent of water processed better than those, there's nothing wrong with it. If I were to be running for political appointment, government office, I would be saying, look, I would rather be in charge of water resources, bring water, make it available to the people. And also, let us have bathrooms, urinals that we can build, make it available for people to use. They drop money and the thing open for them and all that. It can be done. We have people that can engineer those from our polytechnics, from our universities. But we are not doing those. These things that local government should do calls for us to actually open our minds and bring back the PWD, the Public Works Department, in each of our local governments. We do not need a Tinubu to come and campaign with that. That's not a presidential stuff. That's a local government chairmanship stuff. Sometimes I wonder when you see things that they are saying a governor is coming to open and all that, do this work there, present it there, let it be there. We don't need a governor to come and open a urinal. You don't need a governor to come and be opening pipe-borne water resources on a street in a town. Talking of towns, let me now go into things that actually make me not too happy. You hear about Oyo Empire, and most of our people these days, in this day and age, when they want to talk about Oyo, they are talking about Oyo Empire. What about talking about Oyo today? How far has Oyo gone since the demise of empire? 1959 was the last Empire Day. Since then, how far has Oyo gone? The local government in Oyo, how far have they moved Oyo forward? Oyo just only want to be talking about its past. Yes, you have a glorious past. What about your present? How good is the present Oyo town? How far has the people, the indigenous, the sons and daughters of Oyo town, how far have they moved the town forward? How far has the children of Ife moved Ife forward? You look at the entire Ile-Ife, it looks like generations old town that it was, that is not even in this present generations of people. It beats me how our people just want to be looking at their past. Yes, our pasts are good. They are a good yardstick to measure how far we should be in the present and then looking forward. But when we are looking at our present situation in the past, it's like you are driving and the only thing you are doing is you are concentrating in looking at the driving back mirror. That person is going to crash very soon and injure the car and injure the vehicle. There are things we should be doing that is of the present and looking into the future. Oyo should not just be about its past. Oh, Oyo has a glorious past. Yes, no one is denying that. What about its present? What about its present right now? The old Oyo was actually the one that actually put Yorubas in trouble. They are the one that signed us into what we are in now, that is the slavery of modern time, the slavery of modern time. God bless us all. Thank you.